Good morning, Lincoln, Nebraska. Happy Tuesday. Welcome into the morning hookup. You had to start out like that, didn't you? Rocking the goosebumps. Happy Big Ten Media Days. Starting to feel like football when you say that. When you hear Big Ten Media Days or any kind of media days. Will fire you up. To me, it just symbolizes it's the start of football. They'll be out there today. We'll get a lot of updates coming throughout the day and tomorrow. Our own Chris Schmidt is out there living it up, getting ready to have some good, some players and coaches, and it'll all kick off today around 1 o'clock, I believe. Coach Rule will hit the podium first today. First coach out of the gate. We'll hear from him later today. I think 2:30. I think it's 2:30 out there. So I have a lot of that today. Good morning, Ernesto. Good morning, Ryan 840. We're also going to have the pleasure of having one Robin Washit, HustlerOnline.com, out there from Vegas. He'll have an early morning with us. He'll have taking the time to hang out with us, even out in Vegas. Do a little NFL today in the second hour. Brian Munson, a little update there from Brian. And there are a lot of stories that we missed. Phone call out of the gate. Love every bit of this. See what's going on. So a whole lot of you guys as well. If you want to give us a call, 482-489-1240. You can join us on YouTube, Facebook, join the stream. Throw some questions in there if you got questions. Tomorrow as well, there'll be a big reaction to Big Ten Media Days from everyone that was out there. Get your thoughts, your comments after Coach Rule and the players talk. There's a lot of storylines, I think, for Nebraska especially. This one's going to be interesting. This Big Ten Media Days is very interesting to me as we'll get to it. Who was it? Nobody want to come on the air with us, or they just have comments?
Yeah, just some comments.
Yeah, throw them out there. Who was? Do we know who it was?
Matt. He was a recent caller. He was wondering if I knew somebody that worked here, and I was like, I'm a little bit newer here at KFOR, so.
Oh.
Yeah. I was like, I don't know that name. He's like,
nope.
He's like, all right, cool.
Cool. See you. Bye. Get out.
Pretty much it.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for hanging out with us, though. So we got Big Ten Media Days, all that. A lot of interesting stuff, I think, coming out of Big Ten Media Days as, again, one, get the lay of the land of what it's like out there, because this is a new place for the Big Ten, taking it out west, typically hanging out in Indianapolis, Chicago, more Midwest out there.
Mm-hmm.
So how the flair out there goes, we'll get again Robin Washington coming up in about 10 minutes. I think, to me, I'll be watching how Nebraska presents itself. Hopefully this isn't one of those, especially Dylan Raiola. Sophomore quarterback. First probably national presence that he'll have on a big stage to talk to the media. We heard from him after games locally, right? But now he'll be front and center. He'll be, QB1, sophomore.
And I don't think it'll be just Nebraska fans that want to watch Dylan Raiola.
Be a lot.
I think he'll be getting a lot of national attention.
Because there'll be a lot of questions about for him. He'll get a good 45 minutes on the side tables with all the media. We watch how he presents himself. I think Nebraska, and I think they've been hopefully listened and been classically trained. Don't be throwing out a bunch of moments. I think be happy where you are. You're in that 8 spot. We talked about it yesterday. There's the top end, the bottom end, and then everybody in the middle. It's okay to just be Nebraska right here. Not to make the bold statement.
Don't write checks. Don't write checks you can't cash.
Yes.
Yep. Let your game on the field speak for itself.
Don't come out as the story.
Right.
Out of Big Ten Media Days, which we have before.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of, this is a don't do anything or say anything or give anything away in a very pressure-packed season. It's a big season for Nebraska. A lot of pressure coming into this one. Obviously, you got to the bowl game. You snapped that whatever we had going on. Winning record finally. Okay, mark that off. You're in year 3 of Coach Rule. And everybody wants to document the history of Temple and Baylor in year 3. You got a former 5-star quarterback at the helm. You also got a lot of new coordinators out there. John Butler, DC. The return of Mike Eckler to your special teams, which is going to be huge this year. You also added Terry Braden, defensive line coach, because that's a one that you're looking at going, oh, you lost a lot of production. How do you replace it? Wide receiver coach, Shorts. You added some big-time transfer receivers, what that looks like. Phil Snow returns with Coach Rule as an associate head coach. I mean, and then your OC, Dana. How about that? Coordinators could be the talk of this as well.
Absolutely. And it's just don't make yourself look stupid, man.
So many storylines out of this.
You have no reason to. Yeah.
Figuring out how to stack wins. You know, Dylan, yourself, you had a really nice, successful freshman season, I would call it, 2,800 yards. You know, 67% of his passes completed. He's not looking over his shoulder either. You know, last year you could say he was competing against Harburg, and you had Daniel Kalen, and you went through the OC switch mid-season, right? Now you're not looking over your shoulder. You know you're the guy. Your OC, right? He only did the final 4 games. Dana, you got a small sample size of Dana's offense, and not even that in the last 4 games. This all should line up for Nebraska in success leading up to this season and the season opener down in Kansas City.
I wholeheartedly agree. I don't really have much else to say.
Well, here's something we'll talk about as we get through. They did put out big CBS Sports. This is the Big Ten week, so everybody's putting out lists, burning questions, ranking the coaches. By the way, we'll get to the entire list. But if we're talking about Nebraska being at Big Ten Media Days, Coach Rule, nationally ranked number 32. In the big mix of coaches. Number 9 in the Big Ten. Here's what it says. Rule was able to end Nebraska's dreadful bowl drought in 24, but still drops a spot. He dropped his spot. He's 12-13 overall with the Huskers. He's 10-6 from August through October. This is something else Nebraska needs to fix. Just 2-7 in games played November or later. Year 3 is when Rule has historically flipped programs, and Nebraska hoping that pattern holds as he pushes to become relevant in the Big Ten. Not that ranking matters, but there's substance behind the ranking. He fell. And we'll talk about the top guys and all that coming up. Big day leading off at the Big Ten Media Days. You get your commissioner. He'll throw out some stuff. Everybody will be listening to the commissioner too. A lot of it will be focused on the conversation behind 9 conference games, which other teams play in 8, the college football playoff, because we're at an impasse right now with that. The 2 powers to be, the SEC and the Big Ten, differ right now in what they believe. 5+1, auto qualifiers, all that in the mix right now. So there'll be a lot to be heard from that. I think that's 1 or 1:30 today. They'll kick this off. Big day. Kickoff for football, my friend.
I wonder if the commissioner will address the recent storyline about the not furthering the Michigan punishment with Connor Stallions. I don't know.
I think that's going to come up.
I would hope so.
The commissioner sent a letter, I believe. That'll come up. There'll be a lot of topics in that, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he sent a letter on behalf of Michigan.
Yeah, here it is right here. The NCAA could come down to the decision to whether or not the Michigan Wolverines face further punishment for their sign stealing scandal. If a decision, good or bad, comes down before Sharon Moore takes the stage, it will take over Big Ten Media Days. Decision expected before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just said, hey, man, we're good. Leave him alone, pretty much. Let's get through this. Be a lot of fun stuff. So, all right, let's take our first break. Let's wake up a guy. He's probably already awake, but let's see how this goes. He did ask me a question, which is kind of funny. I'm not going to repeat it on the air, but he's been out in Vegas.
He might not have slept.
Yeah, let's hope he did not, because that'd be make for Radio Gold. Coming up, Husker Online's Robin Washit. Ba, 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 ba. Giving you crap about your hat. Should be a waist bucker on the shot for that hat. That hat was discussed this morning as well. Moti walked in. Moti had his Cubs hat on. Hey, Robin. I'll send him a text.
Should I try again or just wait?
Just wait. You live out there?
Yeah, I feel kind of dumb wearing this hat because I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna wear red to support Nebraska on Big Ten Media Days," and then I left the house, got down the street, and I'm like, "Wait, I have a Nebraska hat. Why did I not just wear that?"
Yeah, I didn't. Honestly, it didn't even come across to think about that. You were more thoughtful than I was, because I will be gone the rest of the week. I'll be gone the rest of the week, but Theo Malone will be here with you tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Hanging out with you guys. Little Big Ten Media update. Well, I'll be gone. I'll be back next Tuesday. It's we put off the 25th anniversary trip.
There you go.
For a month or so.
There you go.
To get out of baseball. You know, baseball takes precedent over 25th year anniversaries, right? Life of a coach.
Absolutely. Let me turn this cue off so we don't have any echoes over the air.
What is going on?
Robin might be getting his extra beauty sleep.
Yeah, we'll see.
He's got a busy day.
I texted him.
Oh, now we're getting a call. Here
it might be Washit. Let's see if it's Washit. I'm sure it's him. We won't keep him long. Yeah, Mochi's got you represented today. Welcome back in the morning hookup. Happy Tuesday. Let's bring on our guy. Man, he's the best. Robin Washington, HuskerOnline.com. Robin, what's up, my man?
What is up?
Woo! How was your first night in Vegas? Any no phone parties, right?
No, pretty tame. It's kind of dead out here, surprisingly. Like, it was way busier when I was out here in the spring, and I guess that makes sense because it's like 1,000 degrees outside. So, like, doing anything outside of a hotel or casino is not enjoyable. But we had fun. Had some good food. We went to this place in Caesar's Palace, Joe's something or the other, kind of a seafood steak type place. We're going to the golden steer tonight.
Ooh.
Got reservations like 2 months ago. Apparently, it's the nicest steakhouse in Vegas, so pretty fired up about that. So the food has been excellent. Pretty chill. I didn't play any table games, but I'll just say I did very well at the sports book, betting a little baseball. So we're up on after day one, which I could not say the same last time I was here.
Hardest thing to do is now walk away from it all, which is
I know.
not going to happen. I know. There's other things to be played.
Yeah, all of a sudden that Brewers line is going to look real enticing later today.
Oh, watch. We asked this a couple of times as well, but when you obviously Big Ten Media Days, it's getting kicked off today, but they're taking it out west, which I think is an interesting way to go because they've been, you guys been in Indy or Chicago. Was the packing different? Obviously, you'll have your gear on today, but did you pack different? Obviously, it's hot, or did you bring a little more flair with you while you're out there?
I kept it pretty modest. I don't wear like animal print silk shirts or anything out here, but I definitely brought a lot of shorts. I did bring a pair of pants, like slacks, just to wear tonight. Like not even to media days. I don't even care what I wear to media days. I'm more worried about the dress code at this restaurant. It's like one of those places where like all the waiters are in tuxedos, so I don't want to be the schlub that gets like the house jacket because like they're too embarrassed to seat me. So that's about the nicest thing I packed. But otherwise, it's the standard polo shirt and because of the heat, some shorts rather than the pants.
Well, Robin, let's get to it. Before we brought you up, Hooks and I were talking about how just at media days, how does Nebraska tame? How do I put this? How does Nebraska tame everything and just not put a target on their backs? Not come out and say something stupid at media days.
You just keep doing what they're doing. This has been about as quiet of an off season as I can remember, and I'm very sure that that's by design. It probably starts at the top where Matt Rule doesn't want outside noise to dictate the narrative of this season one way or the other before they even play a game, and so they've kept it really close to the vest. You go back to the spring, you'd ask a coach about an individual player, and they wouldn't talk about an individual player. They'd talk about the position group or name like 5 or 6 other players at the position that were also doing well. And so they're trying to, I think, make a concerted effort to tone down the flow of Kool-Aid that generally is shooting out like a fire hose at this time of year. And I think that's a good thing. Sometimes Nebraska talks too much and there's too much hype and too much, overanalyzing things. I think that's been muted quite a bit this offseason, and I would anticipate that continues on into today when they take the podium. I think you're going to see some confident answers, but they're not going to go out of their way to say the Big Ten needs to adjust to us and all that sort of stuff. I think that they're going to keep it pretty measured, just like they have all offseason.
I'd said this is what you pretty much just said it. Just don't leave Vegas the story. Don't be the story when you leave Vegas out of this thing. But you'll get Coach Rule and others today. But looking at it, you know what? This will be like probably the first time, like nationally, Dylan will step to that podium. What do you hope to hear or expect to hear from Dylan? Because now looking at it, you're QB1. No looking over the shoulder. Your OC is locked in with you. But what are you looking for to hearing from him or an expectation from your leader as he steps to the podium?
Kind of the same deal. I want to hear more of the same. He's kind of carried himself with a good level of confidence, been really complimentary of his teammates and, kind of said the things that you would want your QB1 to say. But, for his perspective, what I wouldn't mind seeing is him just, kind of not being intimidated by the moment, like carry yourself like the elite level quarterback that you believe and your team believes that you can be. And, don't just be like oh shucks, I'm just happy to be here. Like, have a little bit of swagger, but also be smart enough not to say anything stupid. That's kind of the balance that, a player of his profile is going to have to learn how to walk at some point. And this is going to be his first real test. So I want to see him, further step into that leadership role where he embraces being the face of the team, and says the right things, says it confidently, but then also doesn't, put his foot in his mouth to, kind of spoiled the opportunity here, but because I think that's what this is. It's an opportunity for him to really carry himself as one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten Conference. And, while other people might just look at him as a little, mini Mahomes, I think this is an opportunity to show that he's far beyond just, some NFL memes, that he's a legit QB and he's going to carry himself like the face of Nebraska's program.
Robin Washit with us from Husker Online, and we've talked a little bit about Nebraska so far. That'll probably be most of what you report on, but are you excited to hear about any other Big Ten teams while you're out there?
Not particularly. A lot of this is, I don't know. I've lost interest in this event, like covering it from a league perspective. I guess like maybe the most interesting thing is going to come from Tony Petitti, with all the stuff going on with, the conference level stuff and the college football playoff and all that sort of things. Like those are the biggest storylines in the sports right now. And he's very much at the big kid table and making some pretty significant decisions that are going to dictate the future of college athletics as we know it. So, I don't really care what Ryan Day or Kirk Ferentz or whoever, James Franklin, like what they have to say. They're all excited about their team. They had a good off season. They like their players, like blah, 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 blah. What I want to hear is like, all right, let's get some firm, concrete answers about this, painless impasse that we've had between the Big Ten and SEC about trying to actually get some established guidelines and rules that the sport of college football is going to follow collectively, as opposed to the Wild West model it's been for far too long.
Washington, good points there. But as we move towards football in this season, I think this is the kickoff of football. You're starting to get that great feeling. It's starting to happen. What are the storylines that you will be tracking? Because we're not going to learn a lot. We never really learn a lot at Big Ten Media Days. You just hear people, like you said, the lip service of some sorts. But what will be the storylines you'll be following as we get closer? Will it be mine is like, you got all these new coordinators, right? How does the impact of these new coordinators and Dana's really first solid year with your second year quarterback in place? What are the other storylines you'll be following as we lead up to that Thursday night down in Kansas City?
Yeah, I mean, there's some position battles, I look at, the offensive line, there's still a lot of questions about how that top group's going to look. There's a lot of different combinations and guys that have started games that are all competing for spots. I think we know that, Pritchett and Spindler and Evans are no-brainer starters, but, what about the other guard spot and the right tackle spot? We don't know. And so that's, has there been any development with that? I'm sure we won't get an answer today, but going into fall camp, that's a pretty important storyline on the offensive side of the ball. And then, from the defensive side, the defensive line remains my biggest concern about this team. And, they said a lot of good things about guys like Elijah Judy, Riley Van Poppel, those types. How has that progressed? Are they ready to fill some massive shoes now that it's getting for real? It's one thing to talk about that process in the spring. Well, now the intensity is dialing up a little bit, and you got to start finding your guys, and you got to know if that's the front four or front line that you can lean on the way you did last year, or are you going to have to try to scheme ways to help them out? So that is going to be a continuing storyline, just like it's been all off season. And then I'm with you, like the coaching staff's a big thing. When you have 3 new coordinators going into year 3 of a program, that's a significant change, at every level of your team. And so, there's a lot that goes on from the player perspective, but just from like the coaching cohesiveness standpoint, like, those guys got to start clicking now because like you said, the clock's ticking right now. They're just over a month away from playing a live opponent. And there's just a whole lot of new in that coaching staff and a lot of new voices kind of trying to all deliver the same message. So, that, I don't know. That's going to be something we can talk about today, but again, that's another all fall camp long storyline until we actually see what that product looks like down in Kansas City.
You mentioned that offensive line because there's guys out there that you mentioned that are like, these commodities, but do you think like maybe they're at the point, because you got guys coming back like a Cochran or a Prohaska coming back from injury. Are they at the point now where it's like, man, we've been there for so long with a couple guys like that. Like it's time to insert new guys to that level because you kind of know what you've gotten over the previous years with those guys?
Potentially, but those guys started for a reason. A lot of it was out of necessity, but they were, Big Ten level starters before injuries kind of derailed their season. So, I mean, I think you still want to see what you have there if those guys can stay healthy. But at the same time, you're right. They do have some new options now. That's kind of the best part about that whole offensive line conversation is this on paper appears to be as much depth as they've had in a long time, to where not only do you feel like they've upgraded some talent with guys like Pritchett and Spindler, but they've got some guys that have developed, and offensive line development has been a serious issue for Nebraska football for far too long. And you really got to credit Donovan Raiola for kind of sticking it out and getting that group now to where they're not just kind of piecing together, guys out of the portal and, playing guys that aren't ready yet or are too young. They've got established players that have been in their program for 3, 4, 5 years that, give them a lot of versatility, a lot of experience, and a lot of leadership. So whoever ends up winning that, those two, I guess, undefined starting jobs, they're definitely going to have earned it. But then the good thing is that if for whatever reason they need to go into their depth, they've got plenty of established options, both guys that have played a lot of games and also guys that have been in the program that are kind of ready to take that next step. So offensive line, those position battles from that conversation is, for me, right up there. It's the most intriguing going into this whole deal. So we'll see if we can get some answers on that today, but I'm guessing that's going to be something that we're going to keep a close eye on over the next month.
Robin, I agree with you on the offensive line, but I've also thought about the defensive line. Losing guys like Nash Hutmaker and Ty Robinson is going to be huge. Big guys, big game wreckers, guys that you have to strategize against. How do you feel about the defensive line coming into the season? What do you think we see out of Riley Van Poppel, Elijah Judy going to be in a bigger role, Cam Lenhart coming back? And then what do you feel about the depth behind those guys like Jalen George, Sua Lefoto, and guys like that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, again, I think it's the biggest concern on the team right now, and it's been that way all offseason. So they really haven't done anything to, I guess, change that opinion. Like you can talk all you want about how much Riley Van Poppel has progressed, how Elijah Judy is become the leader, how Williams Nwaneri is, ready to, reach his potential. But until they actually go out and do it when it matters, it's all talk. And Nebraska fans have learned that lesson the hard way many times over the last decade plus. So, I guess you can try to talk yourself into it, feeling a little bit better than you did maybe going into the spring, but that's still concern number 1, 2, 3 for me, because if you cannot stop the run in the Big Ten, if you cannot get a consistent pass rush without having to blitz from your defensive line in the Big Ten, you're going to have a hard time. And Nebraska was able to cover a lot of warts last year, especially because of the talent they had up front. They're not going to have that now, or at least nothing remotely close to as proven commodities as guys like Robinson and Hutmaker. So, I think that's a big concern for a reason. And again, they can try to put a silver lining on it as much as they want today and through the rest of fall camp. But, this is one of those positions where you got to see it before you can believe it. And they're going to get thrown right into it against Cincinnati, who they're a run first team, and they're going to run right at Nebraska's defensive line. And we'll learn a lot about what that group's actually all about here in the end of August.
Again, we're speaking to Robin Washut, HuskerLine.com, out in Las Vegas, getting ready for Big Ten Media Days. Watch, talk a little hoops right quick. Kendall Blue got the chance to talk to the media, and I think one comment maybe that stuck out is when he talks about one coach, Hoiberg, and being the shooting coach, but also having shooters up and down the roster with this team. That's one that we've looked at for probably multiple years where you had a couple shooters here and there, but talk about that and who those shooters are. And you know what, that's a pretty, I think, confident statement to say and how this offense is going to run this year.
Yeah, and that was the clear priority all offseason, was improving the shooting, and they had to. Last year they were atrocious. I mean, they had maybe two guys you can consistently rely on from behind the arc, and one of them's gone. So they've did, I think, a really good job of supplementing their shooting across the board. Not just from their guards and wings, but their bigs. I think every big they brought in is at least a viable 3-point shooter, where I think they all shot upwards around 30-35%. On however many attempts, but they at least can provide the threat of making a three And if you have 5 shooters, or at least capable shooters, on the floor at all times, that's when Fred's offense can really work the way it's supposed to work. And, the other part to that is not only do they have shooting, they've got a bunch of veteran players. I think they have, like 7 seniors and juniors, all with extensive playing experience on their roster. So they got a lot of old guys. And when you have guys that know what they're doing, suddenly it's not just about having good shooters. You got guys that are in the right spots and getting the ball where it needs to go. That is another critical element of Fred's offense really being what, made him famous to begin with. When you got, shooting threats at all 5 positions and the ball is going where it needs to go, guys are in the right spots, the spacing is where it needs to be. It's a pretty difficult offense to stop. And so, that all has to translate. Their bigs need to shoot at Nebraska the way that they did in their previous stops. Same thing with guys like Price Sanford and Kendall Blue, Jamarcus Lawrence, like all these guys they brought in. They all need to be the types of shooters that Nebraska hoped they were getting when they recruited them in the portal. But if they are, that is going to be as much shooting depth as certainly I can remember since Fred's been here, and probably well beyond that. Especially when you add in the element of having bigs that can shoot and can facilitate the offense. It starts with rink mass, but Oogie and Berke and maybe even Leo Curtis. Though they got some guys, and Jared Garcia, a lot of interesting pieces in that front court that can make them a really difficult team to defend. Especially when they get into league play. So the reports early on have been good. Like you said, guys like Kendall Blue and Fred Hoiberg himself talking about how much better the shooting is from a year ago. But keep in mind that that's a pretty low bar to try to overachieve. If they can be the type of shooting team they were even 2 years ago, they're going to be in a good spot. And I think that they have at least the pieces on paper to be that good, maybe even a little better.
Robin, you brought up a name that I was going to ask about, Leo Curtis. His name came up in the news. He had a fantastic run this past week with his national team in Iceland. Talk a little bit about Leo, the numbers that he put up, and how he fits in that system we were just talking about.
Yeah, he's, in my opinion, the rink mass successor. So, like, what he does this year, I don't know. I mean, he's still a freshman, international player that's, going to try to dive headfirst in the Big Ten. That's usually more difficult than you might think. So we'll see. I mean, from a skill standpoint, I think he's plenty good enough to play right away. It's just a matter of the physicality. He's 7'1". I think they list him at 225. So he's got some work to do. And that was kind of the disappointing thing about him doing this, FIBA under 20 Eurobasket championship out in Greece, was that it took him away from Lincoln. He arrived on the first day of summer workouts and had really impressed over the first month. And then he kind of had to put that on pause to go play with his national team. And that's, the experience he got was great. You're never going to tell a kid no, but personally, I would have liked him to stick around and especially just work on his strength and conditioning to get himself, physically a little bit more Big Ten ready. So we'll see kind of where he picks up after that break. He's, I think, coming back later this week, so he'll get a part of the last week or so of summer workouts. So we'll get a gauge of kind of how much progress he was able to retain, since his departure. But if anything, he showed out, played well on a good stage. I would caution people to get too overly excited about it because outside of like Italy, Germany, those types of teams, the level of competition is pretty low at that deal. Like Iceland was, I think they finished like 15th out of 18 teams. And some of the teams they played, like it was pretty rough. So I would put like the level of like competition as like maybe like a low mid-major type Leo. So he played well, but you kind of got to take it with a grain of salt. But if nothing else, there's plenty of reasons to be encouraged about his long-term potential. We'll see what he's able to do this year. Again, a lot of that's going to come down to just how physically ready he is to play in the Big Ten. But I think the long-term vision for him is, once Rink finally moves on, he's going to be that guy that can do all the things Rink can do, where he can facilitate the offense. He could play, behind the 3-point line. He could pass. He can do all these things that make Rink so valuable. And you put that in a 7-1 frame and put some more muscle on him, then you got something to work with there.
I love every bit of that, but Husker fans, all they heard was Leo Curtis playing well, and we're in the Final Four.
Yeah.
We're in the Final Four.
What?
The Kool-Aid has been drank.
It's okay to dream, and I'm fully happy to start pouring Kool-Aid to anybody that wants it.
That reminds me, somebody in the YouTube comments, they said Wash It is honestly hilarious, and I gotta say your bluntness and how straight up you are about how we don't need to get ahead of ourselves as Husker fans.
He's been doing it too long.
I love it.
Yeah, I try to just always bring a little bit of caution to everything, but you know what? It's July. If there was ever a time to get fired up, this is it.
Well, I do want to add one more before we get you at it, Robin. Thanks for taking the time. I know it's early out there, and you're getting ready to rock it and get ready for Big Ten Media Days. But how important is it? I mean, obviously, we work in the era of the portal and trying to learn new names, faces, how the team's going to come together. Obviously, you got a good core back this year. But how important was it that that Nebraska did get Price Sanford? Not only because he can play and flat out shoot it, but where he grew up at, his history, the camps he went to. I think that's an interesting and important piece to have him maybe, be that guy that understands Fred through and through.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he grew up in a family of Nebraska fans. He grew up in a family of Fred Hoiberg fans. His grandma, I believe, taught with Fred's mother-in-law at an elementary school just outside of Ames. So, I mean, their personal connections go way, way back. So that part of it was a kind of a total no-brainer. And honestly, I think if his brother Peyton wasn't already at Iowa, he probably would have committed to Nebraska out of the jump in the 2023 class out of high school. But once Peyton moved on, that kind of opened things up, and then they had the coaching change, and it all kind of just naturally led him to Lincoln. And I think he's happy here. His family's happy that he's here. And I think what they really are excited about is, he brings, good shooting and Big Ten experience. But I think that there's a thought that there's a lot more to his game that really hasn't been untapped yet. They want to show that he's more than just a spot shooter that stands in the corner and jacks up threes, and that's really all he does. I think they think he's more athletic than some might assume, and they want to kind of utilize his repertoire, so to speak, a little bit more than maybe he was doing at Iowa. So I'm intrigued by him because, again, there's no substitute for Big Ten experience and having Big Ten success. And he had both of those things. And now I think he's kind of ready he's another one of those players that Nebraska recruited out of the portal with the hopes that they're going to take that next step. They've got a lot of players that did well at their previous schools, but now they've got a core of players that, they're really hoping and needing are ready to kind of evolve their game. And I would put Price Sanford right at the top of that list. If he is what Nebraska hopes and expects, then they're going to have a pretty darn good player on their hands.
Well, Washington, thanks for getting up early, hanging out with us as you get ready for Big Ten Media Days. Good luck out there, and enjoy the steakhouse and get the biggest prime steak that Shauna let you buy.
They have $145 big old I don't even know what type of steak it is, but it's supposed to be a steak for two. I think Sean and Cipro are going to get that, and so I got to figure out what I'm going to get. They've got lobster tail options, and when you're on the company card, money's not an object. So
not at all.
I'm gonna thoroughly investigate that menu. I can guarantee you that.
And plus, they know your name. You spend an entire week of your life out there as Nebraska was
That's
on
true.
the run.
I did take up residency here in the spring, so I'll talk to my people.
You walk down the MGM, they go, Mr. Washit, can I get your player's card, please?
Yeah. I'm like Mo Green down here, from Godfather.
Before we get you out of here, so Brewers money line, is that the play?
I think so. I mean, there's the hottest team in baseball right now. I've got to keep riding it, right?
Oh, that's good stuff. Well, I appreciate it, brother, man. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, see you guys.
Robin Washit, live out of Vegas right there, HuskerLine.com. Good stuff from him. Let's take a break. Come back. We'll wrap up hour number 1. That was gold.
I tried to take him off, and I accidentally muted your mic.
That was gold. Wash it getting up early. He
Good
sounded
stuff.
like he was in place
Yeah.
because he did text me, and we're going back and forth. Because Rob and I are good buddies, get to hang out sometimes. It's like, you ever had a? He goes, I'm going to do my best. I mean, I could be completely hungover. I mean, we're in Vegas.
You sounded pretty good.
Yeah, sound great. True professional, Robin Wash it. Truly amazing. What is going on? Oh, man.
I'm surprised I'm awake this morning.
I stayed up a little late last night myself.
Recently got into golf, and
You're back out in the course again?
no, my roommate texts me and he goes, "So PGA Tour 2K25 is cross-play. He has an Xbox and I have a PlayStation." So we were up last night playing against each other on TPC Sawgrass and Portrush and whatever.
That happens to you. I went out with some buddies yesterday. I haven't seen in a while. A little happy hour edition.
Mm.
And ended up with my wife coming over, and the kid, I just blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
Ended up going back to the house to just hang out with the family, and up too late watching TV. That Destination X thing.
Oh, yeah.
My kids locked into that. Like, we did the final. It was final show started at 11:45 at night. One more, guys. One more.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm like, all right, you're locked in. I'm locked in. Let's go. You fired up. I fired up. If I hear that cheer one more time.
Speaking of locked in, let's go.
Welcome back in the morning, Hookup. A few moments left in a fast-moving first hour. Happy Big Ten Media Days as they'll get launched this afternoon. You get a lot more tomorrow from us with Hugh Malone stepping in, hanging out with YZ tomorrow. Special thanks here, big-time special thanks to Robin Wash at HustlerOnline.com for taking the time, man. It was 2 hours. That was a 7:20 time out there in Vegas as we had Robin for some time there. Always good stuff with him. And so if you missed any of that, you can go to YouTube, look up, search The Morning Hookup. It's all there for you to guys go back and rewatch. Facebook, all the good stuff. And, if you feel like it, smash the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. We mentioned this earlier. We're going to get to more football, NFL in the top of the second hour. We have Brian Munson as well coming up. So they did throw out we read it earlier a little bit, the Big Ten football coaches rankings. CBS puts it out. It's the who's who. I think the Big Ten is becoming the who's who of coaching when you look at it. Here's what they got. Here's what I'll throw the top. We'll go through the list real fast. We have a few moments. At the top of that list, Ryan Day. He's national ranked number 2, by the way, out there. Ryan Day, obviously coming off the get over that hump. Dan Lanning comes in at 2 at Oregon, national ranked number 5. Big year for this guy. I don't know if there's more pressure in the country probably than out in Happy Valley. Penn State's James Franklin was as highly touted as they're saying that team is, and returning the quarterback. Can they make that jump? Lincoln Riley, I think an interesting number 4. By the way, James Franklin, number 7 nationally. If you look at that, that's the top 3 guys or top 10 nationally from the Big Ten. Lincoln Riley comes in at number 4, number 13 nationally.
Oh, okay.
13 nationally, 4 in the Big Ten.
Okay.
4 in the Big Ten. Kurt Ferentz checks in at 5 in the Big Ten. 19th nationally. Big year for them. Can they? It's the offensive side of the ball. Does it change?
Mm-hmm.
He'll be 70 in August. 27 season at Iowa. Kurt Signetti at Indiana checks in at number 6, number 21 nationally. I know what 1 year, right? You're just like, what? How? What? I know.
If you're in the YouTube stream, you just saw my face. Whatever. We didn't make the list.
It is what it is. 7, Brett Bielema checking in. Big year for them as there's a lot of push behind them. The Cleveland.com poll put them at 4 as they return almost everybody out there. He's number 23 nationally. BJ Fleck checks in just ahead of Coach Rule at 8, 27th nationally. There'll be a team that's an interesting team. They always figure out ways. They're just annoying enough to win 7 or 8 games every year and cause trouble. Matt Rule checks in at 9. Jed Fish out at Washington checks in at 10. Woo-wee! How about you now? I know you've been wanting to hear this one, haven't you? You're questioning where is he at. Luke Fickell, 11. Out of Wisconsin. Luke Fickell, 11. 13-13 in his first 2 seasons, so interesting time for them. Greg Schiano out of Rutgers comes in at 12. I think a guy that's here at 13 that's going to make his presence known in the next few years is Jonathan Smith. Checks in at 13 out at Michigan State. Which is interesting. Last year he was 7th. It's so interesting why he's 13 because they are going to be poised. He was only 5-7. It's interesting, but watch out for them. There, Barry Odom checks in at 14 at Purdue. Sharon Moore, 15.
Oh, wow.
At Michigan. He's taking over a program, so we don't know enough about it.
That's true.
Last year, it's exactly where he was. They had him at 15. He's 2-0 against Ohio State. You know he's taking something over. Mike Loxley comes in at 16 in Maryland. There. Whew. He's 15-35 against the Big Ten.
Yeah, he's on the hot seat for sure.
Deshaun Foster, as I don't know if he knows where he coaches at, but UCLA will check in at 17. Got a new shiny quarterback out there, so that goes. David Braun checks in at the bottom, out at Northwestern. So only 4 Power 4 coaches rank lower than Braun.
Eesh.
Yikes.
Signetti, huh? Okay, listen, I know you made the playoff in your first year with the team, but really?
Yeah.
You're going to put him that high in the Big Ten already?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We'll see if
we'll see how that pans out.
I think
what's out there.
I think we've talked about it a good amount on this show. Just if they can live up to the same expectations, or not the expectations, if they can repeat what they did last year. I'm going to come out and say it. I don't think they can, but
be tough.
I guess we'll see.
It says no Big Ten coach stock moved more up and down than Signetti did. No nonsense approach style, proven record, quit Indiana rise. We'll see. We'll see if they can make that continue that. So you guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us in this great first hour. You guys made it great. We appreciate it. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll do NFL, and we'll have Brian Munson, HuskerLine.com. We'll be right back.
Blink of an eye, summer can unleash deadly storms, massive flooding, and trailer park hunting tornadoes. Keep your family safe with up-to-the-second alerts from the award-winning weather team here at KFOR. News, talk, sports, and severe weather updates are here for you 24/7. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, and streaming on your mobile device with your favorite radio app or online at KFORnow.com.
Hey, it's Schmitty. You've likely heard me talk about my health journey over the last year and a half. the journey that started with a visit to Lincoln Weight Loss. I'd become frustrated and not able to shed some of that stubborn weight that I'd accumulated over the years. Then I was introduced and started the Lincoln Weight Loss Program. My metabolism was completely reset, and I dropped the weight I'd been hoping to lose almost immediately. Even better, I had a burst of newfound energy. I've been following the Lincoln Weight Loss Program ever since, and it's truly changed my life. I encourage you to take that first step and check out Lincoln Weight Loss and get your free body composition analysis. From there, you'll start to see results and get back on track. Then you can get back to enjoying golfing, grilling, mowing, whatever makes you happiest this summer. With Lincoln Weight Loss, there's no injections, no prepackaged meals, or calorie counting. Schedule your free consultation today at LincolnWeightLoss.com or call 402-520-8170.
Back to school is on the brain. That means new notebooks, pencils, new everything. And while the kids are getting ready to get book smart, it's time for you to save smart with Straight Talk Wireless. Switch now and get a free Moto G 2025 with 5G when you activate select plans. Now that's a smart call. Get Straight Talk covered by Verizon's 5G network. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Offer valid through 10/19/25. Taxes and fees apply. Purchase of gold unlimited plan or higher required for offer. Must activate the plan in-store at Walmart. Cannot be combined with other offers.
Lightheadedness, headache, nausea. Those are the first symptoms of heat exhaustion.
It's pretty hot and humid.
It's just no, it's unrelenting. It's just unpleasantly warm. I don't know what to say.
Don't let the heat and humidity turn you into a sweaty, molten glob of smelly, baked flesh.
It's getting hot in here.
It's hot in hell.
It's hot. Really, really, really hot.
Stay safe this summer with updates from KFOR.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Zip Intro. Post jobs today, talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Lincoln's local news, talk, sports, and weather station. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, and KFRX HD3, Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Israeli strikes said to have killed at least 20 Palestinians in Gaza overnight as the IDF pushed on with a new ground incursion in the area that had largely been spared of heavy fighting during the war. UN officials, meantime, say humanitarian aid is so scarce in Gaza right now that people are fainting on the streets from hunger. ABC Chief International Correspondent James Longman with more.
Frustration on the streets is seeming to turn against Hamas negotiators for failing to secure a ceasefire. What are you negotiating about, he says. We're humans, not dogs. We want to eat and live just like you.
The Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry says hospitals in the Gaza Strip have recorded the deaths of 15 people, including 4 children, due to famine and malnutrition over the past 24 hours. The country remembering the actor who grew up before millions of eyes. Hollywood mourning the death of Malcolm Jamal Warner, who drowned in a rip current off Costa Rica while vacationing. ABC's Victor Okendo is there.
For 8 seasons, Warner played the endearing, humorous Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, the sitcom becoming a cultural phenomenon. This morning, tributes pouring in. Tracy Ellis Ross, who played Warner's on-screen wife, writing, "You were my first TV husband, My heart is so sad. You made the world a brighter place. The actor leaving behind a wife and daughter.
Malcolm Joel Warner was 54 years old. Stiflingly hot temperatures from the Midwest through the South and strong storms aren't making things any easier. Here's ABC Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z.
We had deadly flash flooding again yesterday. This time it was in Overland Park, Kansas, where a woman was swept into a creek. Charleston, South Carolina also had some flash flooding. They do that when they get rain too fast. And unfortunately, we're going to see that again today because we have an elevated level 2 out of 4 from Wilmington down through Charleston and even Savannah, Georgia.
You're listening to ABC News.
Are you over 50 and constantly feeling tired, bloated, or just a little off? Don't ignore it. Those could be signs that your liver is crying for help. As we age, our liver, which is essential for metabolism, digestion, immunity, and detoxification, needs extra support and protection. If neglected, it can leave you feeling sluggish and constantly off your game. That's where Active Liver from New Nordic comes in. Available in easy-to-take tablets or delicious gummies, Active Liver combines powerful natural ingredients like turmeric, milk thistle, and globe artichoke extract to help support healthy liver function. With Active Liver, you're giving your body an essential daily defense against toxins from alcohol, fatty foods, and sweets, helping you reclaim your energy, improve digestion, lose the bloat, and strengthen your immunity so you can look and feel your best again. Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or
a Wisconsin murder suspect wants a competency hearing. Good morning. I'm Jeff Motes. We're at 80 degrees at KFOR. The man that's accused of murdering a Wisconsin woman, then leading authorities on a chase through Nebraska with her dead body in the backseat of a vehicle last Wednesday, is now requesting a competency evaluation. On Monday, the attorney for Gavin Thompson of Dodgeville, Wisconsin, filed a request for the 23-year-old to be examined by a licensed psychiatrist or clinical psychologist to find out if he's fit to stand trial here in Nebraska. Prosecutors in Lancaster County charged Thompson with operating a motor vehicle to avoid arrest, hiding a corpse, and theft by unlawful taking of $5,000 or more. The charges are reflecting the crimes that Thompson committed in Nebraska, according to an arrest affidavit. It was Lancaster County Attorney Pat Condon, though, on Monday afternoon that released a statement that said that they were looking to extradite Thompson back to Wisconsin. Thompson was arrested last Wednesday after a manhunt in eastern Seward County following a crash on I-80 near Pleasantdale. A body found in the back of the vehicle was identified as that of a missing 67-year-old woman from Dodgeville, Wisconsin, that investigators determined died sometime before the crash. You can read more at KFORnow.com. Members of LPD's homeless outreach team, along with Centerpoint, have spent the last couple of days helping people have no place to go or with no shelter to stay cool and to beat the heat.
Taking calls that are coming in through our alternate response line, and then also just we're also out checking on people and trying to find people that we know are unsheltered and we know pretty much where they're staying at and where the encampments are at.
LPD investigator Melissa Ripley says that they've been busy with giving those that are homeless water, sunscreen, and bug spray while helping them to cooling centers or with areas that have air conditioning to keep cool. After an overnight stop in Norman, Oklahoma, members of Nebraska's Urban Search and Rescue Team, Task Force 1, they're expected to arrive in Lincoln by 3 o'clock this afternoon. That's according to LFR Public Information Officer MJ Learman. 45 members of Nebraska Task Force 1 spent the last 2 weeks in the hill country of southwest Texas, helping with search and rescue and search and recovery from the July 4th deadly floods. Mostly sunny skies expected later today and a high of 94. I'm Jeff Motes, KFOR News.
Are you over 50 and constantly feeling tired, bloated, or just a little off? Don't ignore it. Those could be signs that your liver is crying for help. As we age, our liver, which is essential for metabolism, digestion, immunity, and detoxification, needs extra support and protection. If neglected, it can leave you feeling sluggish and constantly off your game. That's where Active Liver from New Nordic comes in. Available in easy-to-take tablets or delicious gummies, Active Liver combines powerful natural ingredients like turmeric, milk thistle, and globe artichoke extract to help support healthy liver function. With Active Liver, you're giving your body an essential daily defense against toxins from alcohol, fatty foods, and sweets, helping you reclaim your energy, improve digestion, lose the bloat, and strengthen your immunity so you can look and feel your best again. Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
This is the Morning Hookup on KFOR.
You ready? Let's go.
Welcome back in the morning hookup, hour number 2. Thanks for hanging out with us. Boy, Big Ten Media Days, man. Fired up to hear the conversations. I'm like, wash it, though. I'm more interested. Yeah, I want to hear Coach Rule talk and hear Dylan talk in front of the National for the first time. But I want to hear a lot about what the commissioner's going to say. There's a lot going on in the power struggle between the Big Ten and the SEC.
Got the white monster flowing.
Yeah, I got you hooked up. I told you.
Well, I went and got my own this morning, too. So I now have 4 monsters in my possession because the local gas station has a deal for buy 2, get 1 free.
Yeah, hit the deals.
So I was like, all right, cool.
Hit the deals.
Spent $7 and got a free monster. And then I walk in and got another free monster.
I told you I was going to hook you guys up.
I know.
You guys are burning at both ends. And
I completely forgot.
You guys take care of the business.
I have a terrible memory. So I appreciate it.
Take care of the business. Speaking of that, boy, do you? We'll get to there's a few good NFL stories that we're going to just talk about here in a minute, and the Bengals front office spoke up, and they still sounded pretty stupid. But you ever watch Ted Lasso?
I've heard about it though.
Put it on your list.
Is that the football coach or the soccer coach?
Football turned soccer guy out across the pond.
Mm-hmm.
I bring that up because everybody's been highly anticipated. We thought it was gone. Season 4 is now being taped and it's underway. And guess where it's being filmed at right now? There's been a lot of reports about where they're at and the sights and sounds and the scene of where they're at.
Since you're asking me, I'm going to say Boston.
Closer.
To Nebraska?
Yeah, closer.
Oh, God. Kansas City.
Yep, Kansas City.
Okay.
Reports are they're doing some filming down in Kansas City on the plaza. A lot of reports of sights and sounds from the plaza. I'm fired up for that.
So it's about a
football coach turning the soccer guy. Yeah, it's a whole big story.
Okay.
But it's a Jason Sudeikis. So funny. So funny.
Where can I watch this at?
Is it on Prime maybe?
Okay.
Apple TV. It's Apple TV. I think you have that. Let me look. Somebody tell me where it's at.
Hopefully it's on Prime. Well, actually, it doesn't matter at this point because remember last week when I told you I was going to go home and watch golf?
Yep.
My roommates decided to lose the remote that goes in the living room.
That's not good. That's
so
Apple TV.
I was looking there for like 30 minutes. I'm flipping over the couch, looking in the couch cushions. I'm like, maybe it's over here. Maybe it's. We have no idea where this remote's at.
Oh boy, that's the worst feeling ever.
So we got to go get a new remote so we can watch stuff in the living room.
Just Amazon it.
Yeah, we could probably be here tomorrow. Yeah.
Amazon it. We have those Roku TVs all over the house. It's like, no, we lost that. Amazon.
Yep.
3-pack. Apple TV or Prime. If you have one of those, Ted Lasso. But they're down in Kansas City doing some filming.
All right.
It's pretty interesting.
I'll have to check that out.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. You won't be. And then if you're out there listening and do that, it's a binge watch. Like you'll get one, but like, oh, this is awesome. This is awesome. A little NFL real quick. We have Brian Munson come up in about 10 minutes or so. Boy, they are a mess out in Cincinnati from the front office perspective. Trey Hendrickson, we all know, highly touted sack leader, big key to that front for Cincinnati. He will not report to training camp. He told Adam Schefter continue to stick to his game plan throughout his offseason until he gets a new contract. He said in May he would not suit up and under his current deal, which is set, by the way, for $15.8 million. Last season's sack leader, including over the weekend, he said nothing materialized. Nothing is happening. He said it's been a long negotiation. He's a fine player. He's a good guy. We want him here, but they can't get the deal done. Big time piece they're missing getting into camp.
What did you see what their president came out and said about Shamar Stewart?
Will you bring that up? Because this tells you what kind of mess they are. Like you are projecting.
Yeah.
You're portraying. You're putting this on people. Like one, we already know you're a bad front office. Two, can you say this stuff? Like, are you saying that this is what's going to happen?
That's why I brought it up, because I was like, seriously? Well, he called it foolishness that the team and Shamar Stewart have been unable to sign a contract. The sticking point in the negotiations, Brown said, is a dispute over the language in Stewart's rookie contract pertaining to a potential conduct detrimental to the team. In that scenario, it could void guaranteed money to Stewart, which is a clause the Bengals added recently to mirror other teams around the league.
What did he say? Didn't he say something to the fact that, like, why would I pay somebody sitting in jail?
Wow, did he say that?
Let me go back. I had an article up a minute ago, but I'm pretty sure he
Well,
just...
either way, just coming out and talking about an unsigned rookie like that, just saying that it's foolishness, it kind of shows who you are as a person. Like, you're the president of an NFL team. Like, why would you want to be on bad terms with your players? Why can't you just come to a negotiation? How
you gotta rewrite your CBS Sports. Owner Mike Brown, he turns 90 years old coming up, but that doesn't mean anything. Let's see, where is it? Where's his actual comment? I apologize. His agent wants to be so that if he acted in a terrible fashion, that's all hypothetical. Something that rises to the level of going to prison, that would be on the guaranteed. And our position is no. If that happens, we're not going to pay someone who's sitting in jail. That's not what we're going to do.
Where is the jail comments coming from? Like, did Stewart get in some legal trouble that we don't know about? That's what I'm confused about.
They're not going to be thrilled by that comment.
Like, yeah,
I mean, just on the optics.
I would maybe get it if, like, it was public knowledge out there that he got arrested or something, but I haven't seen his name in the news or anything.
And now what that also tells you is, by the way, guess what? He's not budging.
Yeah,
they're going to say, this is the language. If you want to be with us, this is the language. Shamar's going to have to be one that budges. It's just so interesting. It's an interesting way, but again, that's been documented. They have not been very good there.
Yeah, even when they do come to negotiations with contracts, they're not very smart about it. So, just tells you a lot of what's going on in that Bengals front office. That is an insane statement.
Also, speaking of someone that can never get out of their own way, it's also very dogged. Micah Parsons is at camp, but he doesn't have the extension that he's been looking for. I mean, Jones has never shied away from anything. He comes out yesterday and they're talking about it, and he says, just because we sign him doesn't mean we're going to have him. He was hurt 6 games last year. Oh, boy. He said contracts are 4 to 5 years. Okay,
Wait.
There's a lot of water under the bridge. He only missed 4 games.
I was going to say, no, he wasn't.
He missed 4. There's a lot of water on the bridge. If you step out there and do something in the first 2 or 3, you can get hit by a car. Seriously. So there's a lot of time over the years that can make a big difference. Have you heard of any clubs committing to players and then they didn't pan out and then they committed to them? We have.
Who in the world do these guys think they are?
Cowboys fans keep cowboying. That's all there is to it. Wow. It's so interesting how these owners portray their teams or their players.
Like I said earlier, you would think that you would want to be on good terms with your players and not talk poorly about them, or
Jerry don't care.
Mistakenly say how many games they missed last year.
Jerry don't care.
You know why?
Jerry just steps in his own poo-poo all the stinking time.
You know why they don't care? Because their pockets still get filled either way.
Get filled either way. Wow. But Mike is a leader, by the way. He's at camp. He's at camp right now. That situation will be very unique and see how it pans out now that the owner has said this is what it is. You want to sign or not. His only option might be is either get traded or somehow end up back in the draft next year.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. It's a
tough place to be, man.
Really hope the best for him.
So that's a lot there. So let's take another break, our first break of this hour, and let's tune it up a little bit. Let's talk more positive, talk more Huskers, Big Ten Media Days, and recruiting with Brian Munson, HuskerOnline.com. Yeah. Where's that? This guy on what show is this? Kevin Clark. He said, when I look at Jerry Jones, I think of one thing. If the football gods came down and said, Jerry, you can win the next 3 Super Bowls, but you can't. But the catch is you can't do a press conference. He looks at the football gods and says, no deal. I gotta find this. Here we go.
We got Brian up. I don't know if you can hear him during the break. Can you hear him, Hooks?
Hi, Brian.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, just in the background a little bit. Not
Okay.
as
Hold on.
prominent as we will.
Let me see if I can press one button.
Uh-oh. See you, bro.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there it is. He
There
pressed
we
the
go.
button.
Press the button.
Oh, I'm getting some fun odds for you as we kick off.
Oh boy, okay.
I know you love these preseason NFL odds.
See, with the power of
Oh.
with the power of a few buttons, I can run everything from this show. Like Hooks, go ahead and try and talk.
Yeah.
No, he just cut me off. Sound like my wife when I talk to her at night. Sorry, that was out of character. No, it wasn't. We all know this.
She's listening at home right now, and you're gonna get a text. What did you just say about me?
Good thing is she's maybe listening at home. She can't hear me right now.
All right, here we go.
Welcome back in the morning hookup. Time to bring on our guy, Brian Munson, HuskerOnline.com. Brian, what's up, my man?
Hey guys, what's going on?
I don't know, but here's the deal. I do know this, and we're going to get into it a little bit later. But when you start hearing Big Ten Media Days, it's like, let's go. Football is back.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, it's. I wrote a segment last night for 3 and Out that'll be published tomorrow morning, and essentially it was the buzz is exactly where it needs to be. There's nothing going on in recruiting. It's total crickets. It'll be crickets for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all about just, turning the page. You're going to get some really exciting, season news here at the start of the fall camp, but you're going to get your first dose of hearing like Rule and the guys, here today, and then just kind of let that carry you through until you start seeing all the articles and preseason stuff start kicking off in August.
Brad, how important was that? You bring up a great point. Like, it's been quiet, but because they went through June pretty quiet. Then it turned up in June, right? They got a big some recruits and boom, boom, boom. But how important do you think it is for Nebraska? Because we've been the all-season champs for like 20 years, right? Complete hype. all the way through. But how important has it been that so far that it has been quiet with that? Because, because you're going to Vegas now, all that hoopla, but it's been super quiet.
It would be, I think that the term I used in my article was, it would be a total catastrophe right now if you had a coaching staff needing to try to figure out what they were going to do about their 2026 class, as well as get ready for their 2025 season.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a catastrophe. If you didn't have a firm handle on where things are at, whether it's, we're three commits away or one commit away, or we're 100% full or whatever. If you were 50% is a total disaster, we're going to have to figure out, who are some guys that we can start to reevaluate after week 3 or whatever, after we get some film, or who are some guys that we could go poach and reapproach. Man, you're really double tasking this team. And I think that the point is I'm trying to make, you're really trying to get everybody's hands on to get the season going and move in a positive direction. If you get moving in a positive direction, the possible type of recruit you could approach in October is way different if you're successful through September than if you're not. Because if you're off to a 4-0 start or a 5-0 start, and you start picking up the phone and dialing 4-star recruits that are committed to places that are 3-2 or 2-3, you might start getting some people to take note. And you might start getting some people that want to start taking some official visits and start getting back over to Lincoln and checking things out again, or bring some guys back that already took official visits but committed elsewhere. That's going to be the important part of how the value of the success of the team this fall is really going to drive where recruiting can kind of go to kind of get those last 3 spots occupied.
Brian, as we start looking, obviously Big Ten Media Days, for me and probably for everybody out there, I mean, you want to hear Coach Rule speak, and but talk about maybe what it'll be like, or what you hope to expect or hear as your quarterback steps into the national spotlight. I would say for the first time on that big stage. We heard from him last year, during games or after games, but he's been in a lot of summer hype, as the body looks good. He's been making his way around football and basketball games of the youth and in the camps, but now he gets to step onto that stage, and it's in Las Vegas, Nevada, of all places. But what do you hope, or maybe some things that you might want to hear from him without being the story leaving Vegas?
Yeah, he needs to be very complimentary, I think, of the staff and of the team, and not make any, kind of foolish claims and call any type of predictions for the team, and that basically becomes locker room material for any other schools to kind of go back and take a look at, or just draw the attention, I think, of national media in general. I think that we've seen, when you just happen to go out there and you make this kind of very innocent comment, it gets viewed and looked at 10 different ways. And then maybe it takes one person to write an article that kind of takes that quote and runs with it. And then all of a sudden somebody has a dissenting comment about it, and then they take their article and blow it completely and totally out of proportion. You're going to want to stay confrontationless out of this whole media day deal. You're going to want to come off as very complimentary. Hey, we think, 8's about right when it comes to things. We have a lot to play for. A lot of things can happen. It's all on us, like that kind of stuff, like that kind of coach speak jargon. And you don't want to get into we're going to go out there and we're going to prove everybody wrong. We think we're the best big king of the big. No, not at all. I mean, there were plenty of things, I think, that, if you wanted to go out there and be like that, who was the first place vote for Michigan? Are you kidding me? Or drawing some attention to the teams that were rated ahead of you in the preseason poll, those are some things I think that you could potentially go out there and say some things about, but stay away from it. Get through Las Vegas without anybody, basically pointing fingers, laughing, angry at something, or saying this is locker room material come October, November, and this will be a successful trip for Nebraska.
How did you feel about the preseason media poll that came out? We talked with Evan Bland on Monday, and he somewhat agreed with it. I felt that the top three were pretty much interchangeable. Illinois raised some eyebrows for me. Michigan coming in at 5. We've basically said that 5 through 13 is going to be where the meat's at. There's a lot of teams in that middle area that are going to be pretty good this year. What do you think about how the Big Ten shapes up this year?
Yeah, I don't think that there were any real huge, kind of surprises to kind of come out of it. I honestly had okay, so you get it was Penn State, it was Ohio State, Oregon, and then I think you come up with Illinois. Illinois is about right. I mean, I think that Illinois' schedule is very favorable for them this season. They really have a great chance to do some things there and stay, have another successful season because I think their schedule is favorable. I think the first one I have to pick is with Michigan at 5. You got Bryce Underwood, who is an incredibly talented quarterback, but somebody voted them number 1 in the Big Ten. First of all, that's the biggest red flag I have out of all the preseason stuff. Somebody picked them to win the Big Ten conference. I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all.
It's pretty laughable.
Yeah, and then I think the part there that I think when you guys ask me and really try to get me to tell you who I think some games are that Nebraska can be successful in, I'm going to tell you I think Nebraska has a decent chance of beating Michigan at home. And I think the biggest reason why is because you do have a head coach that's going to be serving a suspension during that week. And I think that's going to be Bryce Underwood's biggest stage, in his early collegiate career. I think that's always been a problem, when it comes to those young quarterbacks coming to Lincoln, that's going to be an issue. And I'm sure that Nebraska fans are going to dial it up a little bit, but Signetti comes in and Iowa comes in and then it's Nebraska. I think that 5 through 8 and maybe even 9, to grab USC, I think that those are the spots that are very interchangeable. I think that I would take 1, 2, and 3 and 4 and say, I feel pretty good about that. But then I would throw Michigan in with Nebraska, Iowa, Indiana, USC, and say, I think that those next spots there are very interchangeable, the next 5 spots. And honestly, I'll tell you maybe one that concerns me a little bit is Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
I think them being outside the top 10, I think that's enough motivation for, them to kind of get going. And obviously, I think that's one of the games that Nebraska is going to struggle in this season, while other people might be going ahead and saying, hey, Nebraska's due to beat Fleck at home. They haven't done it the last 4 times. And that to me, I think is a concern because it seems like they know how to handle business at home. So I guess it's going to be a really, really tough road test, for Nebraska. I thought Wisconsin was a little high, I guess, too. But I think the last kind of 3-4 spots were pretty predictable. I think Maryland's going to be a tough contest for Nebraska as well this season. I mean, and they're rated 15th, 16th, somewhere around the UCLA. So I think that's also going to be a very difficult game for the Huskers.
Again, we're speaking to Brian Munson, HuskerOnline.com. Well, Brian, let's look at some of the position groups, and I think that we can have to stop right at the offensive line. But my thought here is, you feel like you got Evans and Pritchett and Rocco kind of in place and where you're at, but then you got some guys returning possibly from injury, from Cochran to Prohaska. My question being is, as you've followed a lot of these guys on the line, give me some names and I don't want to say that we're moving past Cochran and Prohaska because they've been hurt. They've been in and out of the lineup. They've been okay. But the question being is, maybe it's time to turn the page on that line and develop some of the guys that have been there and that you've watched. Give me a couple of those names who could be those guys that if it's not a Cochran or Prohaska on that line, they could be up there to have some success.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little problematic. I think what you're trying to get at there, at least at right tackle, is that I think Nebraska kind of did it last year to themselves. They kind of penciled those 2 in as co-number 1s to left tackle, and neither one of the guys could stay healthy. And I think that you don't want to find yourself in that kind of problem. So, I mean, first guys you got to talk about is Gunner.
Yep.
You got to go talk about Gunner, and you got to talk about Tyler Knack. As a guy that people kind of forget about a little bit, but, Tyler Knack can make some noise. And I think if you're talking about young guys that Nebraska and this staff have recruited, I think you have to talk about Grant Bricks, and when does Grant Bricks start to make a mark, on the football field? Now, Grant's running over there, and I think that when you have that many bodies in front of you, even though they're trying to find the right guy, the right combination, build some chemistry or whatever, I think that you can spend a lot of time with a lot of different bodies, like in front of you, trying to find that until you can get really your chance. So if you're Grant looking up and you have 4 other names in front of you, it could be really difficult trying to make a mark and make an impression, because it looks like Nebraska's trying to find somebody that's going to make an impression from anywhere else at that position other than you. So I think that that's maybe something that's going to kind of keep Grant, a little bit further down the list, and how Nebraska's looking for a little bit more experienced season guy, and then I think as you kind of move in a little bit, I think Gibson Pyle is a guy that you could potentially see something at. Like, he could be a player that's going to get some spot time, at right guard a little bit, and then I think you got Sam Sledge, I think, is a name that you're going to see and hear at center. So that's going to be good news for Nebraska. But I think that's, those are 3 names that I think that, could say it. Preston Talamua, I think that he's, coming along. I don't think he's quite as far along as the other 3 names I kind of mentioned, from that group, but I think that he's a guy that's got a lot of potential, and he just needs the reps. I think it really comes down to some of these guys just kind of just getting thrown into the pan a little bit and having to defend themselves. And I think that that's going to be what sometimes you just got to kind of do some on the job training, So sometimes where Nebraska feels like the game's at hand, we don't want to go out there and get Raiola hurt, by putting out some guys that maybe can't block for him effectively, but we're going to have to bring in a guy and get him working alongside, Justin and Rocco and all the other guys, and let them kind of bring him along, because we're going to need to find some ways to increase our depth and start getting some eyes on and figuring out what things are going to look like for the years to come.
Brian, we spoke with Robin Washut in the first hour about pretty much the same thing, the offensive line concerns, and then also just the trenches in general. We flip over to the defensive side, the defensive line, having to replace guys like Nash Hutmaker, Ty Robinson. So who's going to step up? Riley Van Poppel comes into a bigger role. Elijah Judy comes into a bigger role. Who else? Where does the depth come from on the defensive line?
Yeah, I think the 2 guys that you just mentioned, Judy and Van Poppel, are going to be the prime 2 candidates that are set up to, take over and fill in some pretty big shoes. I don't know necessarily if I could think of another way of kind of, 2 guys interior guys graduating at the same time. I mean, I would like to go back and liken it to, Keneally and Christian Peter, or something along those lines. But, it's really, really tough to kind of do where you had both guys, and Crick and Sue were different years. So I'm not skipping over those guys. They just weren't the same. They would have been the same class, but Sue went pro early. I think you start talking about them. I think you have to obviously bring in Williams Delarney as well. I mean, there is a lot riding on Williams and his, raw potential to basically take a huge step forward from, not playing a whole lot at Columbia last year, in Columbia last year at Missouri, and really taking that raw capability and putting it all together for Nebraska. I mean, I think if there's one guy that sits on that defensive side of the football that's an unknown commodity that has the capability of not just being like a consistent, solid performer, but could really turn out to be something special, it's Williams. I really struggle to kind of find another guy like that, to where we don't know, I think with Van Poppel is interesting, right? Because he may have been a guy that could have played last year, but for what? You're getting your opportunity that you want this year. You're going to pick it up and be the guy carrying it forward for the rest of your time there in Lincoln. So I think with Williams, the jury is still kind of out. And I think that he has the ability, though, to put it all together, learn very, very quickly against, the out-of-conference opponents, and become a guy for Nebraska. He could take a lot of pressure off of the other parts of that defense, particularly the front half, the 2 groups, defensive line and linebackers. he could take a lot of pressure off there if he is able to kind of pull it all together and become disruptive at his defensive line position.
Well, Brian, we spent a lot of time talking about the players and the guts of the program. And you've been around the game a long time. You've been in it. You've played it. Talk about the new coordinators and the impact that they are going to have when you got guys like John Butler taking over the defense, Mike Eckler, hopefully here to resurrect a special teams program that was, abysmal at times last year. And then Phil Snow, Shorts, Braden, there's so many of them about what their impact could be in this whole mix of this. I want to call it the most pressured packed season Nebraska's had in recent history.
Well, I think you got to start with Eck, because I think we could all look at the schedule or the results last year and figure that special teams played a role in at least 2 losses, and be very, very clear about that, and just say, with good special teams play, Nebraska wins both those games. And if they did, things change a lot if you win those 2 games. So if Eckler is really there, and they're quote unquote chasing 3, and chasing 3 means 2 additional wins into the win column, that's a massive, massive change for Nebraska. I mean, it's a huge advantage, I think, to have Eckler there. I think that the changes that he has made so far, from what I've heard with the rugby style punter and the success so far that he has seen very, very quickly in his time there at Lincoln, I think people are very excited about that. I think obviously that they had to make some changes at snapper. They did it with the portal. I think that you've shored up those areas of your game. And then I think now it kind of shifts back over to like, okay, what about your field goal kicking, and what about your PATs? Because that obviously was still a question last year, and you've got some things that need to be figured out there. But I think the things that you're going to see differently with Eckler at the helm for special teams is just the juice that those guys are going to have. If it's coming from Mike, that is going to be something right there to behold, because I think he's off the chart energetic. I think he could put on the helmet and the shoulder pads still and give it a go going down the field, and he'd forget that he was in his 50s and he would just go ahead and run through a brick wall. I think if part of that is transferable, and any of that is transitive property from the coach trickling down to the room, I think special teams is going to be great. I think what's interesting about Butler, and I had a great conversation like with Jace Reynolds that's going to be in Tunnel Talk tomorrow. There were some really interesting things that Reynolds had to tell me, because like Reynolds took his official visit to on June 20th, a month or 2. I think he committed in April, but he committed basically without knowing a whole lot from like Coach Butler. And then he sat down during his official visit and said, we're going to put on the Boston College film, because that was Coach Butler calling the defense. And we want you to see and know about like the differences that are going to be there between Butler and White, because there are going to be differences. There are going to be things in how they're going to do things differently from one season to the next. It's not going to be 100% the same thing as what you saw before. Every defensive coordinator has their own profile. They have their own signature. They have their tendencies. They do different things. So it was very interesting to hear from Reynolds, like, watch this game with us. Let's sit down. Let's talk about the linebackers and what we were doing this game, because it isn't the same as the regular season. So there are going to be some differences. I think it's very interesting to kind of hear those words, to see how they're kind of looking at things a little bit differently from the regular season to the postseason. And I think that Butler is, I think the one thing that's always been missing at Nebraska, and I say always, that's probably a little bit too generic of a term, but I've never been really satisfied or happy with in-game adjustments. Mm-hmm. And with Butler coming from the pros, he was a Buffalo Bills guy. You have to be capable of making adjustments, during the game, because if you don't do it for a half or a quarter or to a timeout, it can cost you 7+ points. And sometimes those are too big of holes to kind of dig your way out of. So I think that that's the part I'm the most fired up about when it comes to Coach Butler being in Nebraska.
It's Brian Munson with us from Husker Online. And the talk of the town right now is Big Ten Media Days and the season coming up. But your world is recruiting. And it might be a little slow right now, but there's some slight smoke in the 2027 class with offensive lineman Tristan Dare, a pure athlete in 5-star tight end Ahmad Hudson, And there was one more I was looking at, 4-star 2027 offensive tackle Cameron Wagner. Can you tell us about those guys?
Wagner's obviously tied to Trey Taylor, so those two know each other. Tristan Dare was at Nebraska in April, picked up the offer. Now he's up to like 30 offers, but has a really soft spot for Nebraska. Ahmad Hudson is the number one tight end in the country next year, period. And he's got the Huskers, right at the top of his list after visiting Nebraska twice this spring. So I think Nebraska has to feel good about where they're at. The problem with there, obviously, is that you're in LSU's backyard. Ohio State sees the same thing in Hudson that you guys do. So you're really going to have to dial it up, there. And the market for him is going to be significant. So it's something, obviously, that Nebraska is going to have to just stay on top of when it comes to recruiting a guy like that.
Well, Brian, I'm gonna have some fun with you. We're gonna talk a little NFL real quick with you and give you some.
Okay. We're getting to that time of season too, aren't we?
They're just.
I got my Buffalo Bills tickets. I'm going.
Oh, you're going. When are you heading out to Orchard Park?
October 4th, they take on the New England Patriots on Sunday Night Football.
Oh.
My son will be coaching in Buffalo the day before Eastern Michigan travels to Buffalo. So I got back-to-back games. So I'll be at UAB watching Eastern Michigan, and then the next night I'll be down there. I'll be doing Niagara Falls in the middle and checking out all the wings places. So I'm so ready for that.
Hey, I tell you what, I'm a Patriots fan, so we'll be rivals that night.
Oh God!
I'm looking forward to it.
Fun. Well, I'll give you a few. Let's see if you're on. They're all Buffalo Bill odds. Okay. Season wins. Number is 11.5.
If everything is right with James Cook, I'm going to take the overs on that.
Money is heading that way. Minus 175 on the others. These numbers are going to tell you what the expectations are for Buffalo this year, by the way. Super Bowl odds. They're tied at the top with one team.
Got to be the Eagles.
Nope.
The Ravens?
Yep. Best odds in the Super Bowl right now are those two teams. They're coming off the board at plus 650. Eagles and the Chiefs come out below that, plus 750.
So you have last year's Super Bowl at 3-4, and you have the two top teams supposedly in the AFC at 1 and 2.
Yep.
3 teams in the AFC in the top 4. Who's fifth? The Lions?
You got it, 850, and then it drops off. They're telling you, by the odds, they're telling you those are the 5, because after that, you got San Francisco at plus 1,700.
Well, I tell you what, we all know that Buffalo can't play Baltimore in the Super Bowl, and we all know that one of the 3, including KC, are going to make it, and that's always a really interesting part of the season. I'm hoping again that this is, do it for Marv, and do it for Steve Christie and do it for K Gunn and that offense, like go after though and get back to the Super Bowl. So I'm hoping this is the year for it. That's amazing. That's amazing.
So here's another odd. There's 2 more and we'll get you out of here. This is to win the AFC itself. Okay. The 2 teams. I think these are so interesting. Baltimore plus 330 to win it. There's the AFC. Buffalo plus 340.
Wow. They see it. I mean, well, here's what it is. I mean, came down to what? Todd Heap last year?
Yep.
I mean, that's really what it came down to. There were some really bad drops by the Ravens that night. And that game changes a lot. If Heap catches, obviously, the 2-point conversion, he dropped another big one earlier on in the game, and Lamar had a horrible, horrible fumble that Von Miller picked up and ran back almost for a score. There was a game of inches basically that night, and I guess that those percentages, basically you're selling that again.
Okay, last one. It's like this one almost scary with that division. Their odds to win the division. I mean, the East, AFC East, minus 320. What?
Now, I hope everybody kind of understands what that is. It's basically 1 to 3 money, right? Because that's essentially you put down $320 to win one. So it's really 325 to win 100.
And
right? That's what you're saying.
You're right. Because after that, I mean, these odds are crazy. That's the biggest odds out there, because after that, they're telling you they're going to win the division. And you got Miami and New England plus 550. Look at that gap. Minus 320 to plus 550.
I tell you what, I don't want to say too much about it, but the biggest change that scares me the most in the AFC East is Vrabel and Foxborough.
Yeah, buddy. He's going to do work out there.
I really, really, really respect him a ton as a coach. He gave Buffalo every bit that they wanted whenever they had to go to Tennessee to play against the Titans before. Mm-hmm. And he used to do it to Belichick. He used to give it to everybody. He didn't want to play against Vrabel. He'll have his dudes ready. Even when they beat Buffalo, but the COVID year, like coming off of a bye in a short week, or I don't remember what all the scenarios were, but they beat Buffalo. I think Buffalo was favored by like almost 10 points, and they beat them. So he's a very capable coach. That's the biggest change in the AFC East this year.
Yep, good stuff. Well, I just had a little fun. I knew you'd get a kick out of that. So, well, Brian,
that's crazy. Those are crazy numbers.
It just puts in a perspective of where this league is at this year. You know?
Yes, it does. I mean, if you've got a weekend where you're watching Buffalo or Baltimore or KC, those three teams those are the ones where it's like every game, every week, it's worth it. You can't go out and give one up just for the sake of giving one up. Every week is important.
Yep. Well, man, that's awesome. Well, Mr. Munson, we appreciate your time as always, my friend. Have a great rest of your day and week. We'll talk to you real soon.
Sounds good, guys. We'll see you.
Brian Munson, HuskerOnline.com. Great stuff there hanging out with Brian. Let's take our last break and come back with stories that we missed.
Woo! Man, I got to go to my other job after this and serve tables.
We got this. My wife.
We'll see how busy we are for Tuesday lunch.
My wife, I love her. We're going on a trip coming up, starting tomorrow.
Yep.
And she's like, got a couple polos for you and a couple shorts. Oh, boy. And then she goes, you can take them back. Do you want to talk about the one story in baseball last night? Or do you want to let it go? You want me to do it?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
For you?
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Like a little minor, like a little, it's like 8U stuff, 9U stuff that happened. You ever looked at your guy and say, scoot back?
Well,
I'm gonna give you that story.
Yeah, I'll bring it up.
I'm giving you that one. Oh, this is a good one too.
I was happy when I got in today because I woke up out of my sleep for some reason thinking that I forgot to save the promo that we did yesterday.
Oh, you're like, dang it.
I was like, oh my God, it's going to be a day off. And then I got in today and I saw it was the correct date. And
You're like,
oh my
no, I nailed it.
Thank God.
Yeah, he did say Todd Heap back in the day there. He said, Brian Force, I agree with Munson Variables building a monster, but I do see it being another year or two. Don't sleep on what Peyton is building in Denver. Orange Creek. I agree. There's some up and coming stuff, man. But just the balance right now, if you're looking at just from the odds, look at that balance. It's like, well, here are the 5 teams. Good luck. We won't have much when we come back, right?
What?
Not much when we come back, right? A couple minutes.
4 minutes.
Fo.
Oh, my mic's on.
I didn't hear anything.
All righty. Let's.
All right.
Working on a night moves, trying to make some front page driving news.
Welcome back to the Morning Hookup. Special thanks here to Brian Munson, HuskerOnline.com. Great stuff from him. Few minutes left. Big Ten Media Days not underway. 1 o'clock-ish today. Coach Rule 2:30. Whole lot tomorrow from us and Elijah and Chris on the Average Joe Sports Show. They'll be bringing a lot of good content today and tomorrow. So let's do stories that we missed.
The stories we miss. The Morning Hookup.
We say it a lot, but I'm sure this is one a lot of people miss. See Bryce Matthews last night? Woo! Welcome to Biggs, my friend. 2 for 4, 5 RBIs, 2 bombs last night in a win. How about that?
Welcome to the
Former
Biggs,
Husker having a day last night in baseball.
You know who didn't have a day in baseball?
Who is that?
The Boston Red Sox.
They did not.
You see how
Tell me what happened.
You see how they lost last night? Well, okay. Now, I'll preface this by saying this. Bases loaded, 0 outs. So they're probably going to lose the game anyways. But losing on a walk-off catcher's interference is something I have not seen in a long time. Navarez probably stuck his arm out a little bit too much, but also at the same time, I don't know if you saw the clip. It might have been a little bush league from Sosa because he did not fully swing. So I think he might have been. I think he might have done that on purpose. You can call it bush league. You can call it smart. Call it whatever you want. Either way,
you call it a win.
Yes, I was gonna say. Either way, the Red Sox lost on a catcher's interference.
Oh my gosh, boy! Here's some from according to ESPN's research. Ready for this? This does with the Royals. This pitcher, they're calling a pitcher up.
Oh, yes.
He will tie Edwin Jackson for the most franchises played for in MLB history at 14. He'll be the first pitcher, 45 or older, to appear in a game since 2018, Bartolo Colon. Rich Hill, 45 or Rich Hill, getting called up. He'll make a start tonight against the Cubs. Let's go. He's been in AAA Omaha. 4-4 with a 5.36 in his 9 starts in Omaha.
I think it's
he was a Red Sox last year. What, he 4 or 5 games last year?
I think it's a good story, but he's lost it, man.
I mean, this is his career, man. 90-74, 4 ERA in his career, 386 Major League Baseball games. He's pitched over 1,400 innings.
Yeah,
and 1,400 plus strikeouts.
You're
going to get a treat tonight. Rich Hill to the bump.
You can go out and watch an 86-mile-an-hour fastball. His curveball is still pretty good. It's got some good break to it, but
let's go, Rich Hill.
He's out there throwing batting practice tonight against the Cubs. Some balls might be flying.
What if he gets it done?
Yeah, I'll probably eat my words and look stupid, but
done.
You never know. That'll definitely be on the television tonight.
Boy, did you see this? Also, this a few days ago, but wanting to be a part of the, like you always, you want to be a part of the club. You want to get picked. Memphis tried that, but they tried to give the Big 12 like $200 million to be a part of the Big 12.
Oh, seriously?
You know what the Big 12 said? We're good. Don't need you.
I'm sorry. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Don't need you.
You guys can stay over there.
They showed no interest in adding them. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Tuesday. Tomorrow, Theo Malone, YZ in the house. You'll have Henry T. Buchanan. A ton of Big Ten media stuff. You guys enjoy your Tuesday. Be safe. Stay blessed. Stay safe. Catch you on a hump day.